Hello, English learners. I'm Catherine, and you're listening to Learn Fluent English Pod. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered how celebrities learn English? I mean, these actors, singers, and athletes come from all over the world, yet many of them speak English so fluently. Some even lose their accents completely. So, what's their secret? Are they just naturally gifted at languages? Or is there something we can learn from them? That's exactly what we're going to explore today. And as always, you'll hear new words in context, repeat them with me, and practice shadowing, because that's exactly how these celebrities improve their English too. Now, let's get into it. One of the biggest reasons celebrities pick up English so quickly is because they're constantly surrounded by it. They live in English-speaking environments, work on Hollywood sets, and interact with native speakers every day. Think about it. If your job required you to speak English all the time, wouldn't you improve naturally? Of course, that's exactly what happens to them. They don't just study English, they live it. And that brings us to our first word, immersion. Let's pause for a second. What does immersion mean? Immersion is when you surround yourself completely with a language or culture. Instead of just studying words and grammar, you experience the language in real life by listening, speaking, reading, and thinking in it all the time. Come on, you're not repeating with me. Say it, immersion, again, immersion. Now let's see it in action. I learned Spanish through total immersion. I moved to Spain and spoke only Spanish every day. And another example. Watching English movies without subtitles is a great way to create immersion at home. See? That's why celebrities improve so fast. They don't just take classes, they immerse themselves in English completely. Another reason they improve so quickly? They have personal language coaches. These aren't just regular teachers. They're specialized trainers who focus on pronunciation, fluency, and even reducing accents. And that brings us to our next word, elocution. Let's pause for a second. What is elocution? Elocution is the skill of speaking clearly and expressively. It's not just about correct pronunciation, it's about the way you articulate words, the rhythm of your speech, and the confidence you have when you talk. Come on, say it with me. Elocution, again, elocution. Now, let's put it in a sentence. He took elocution lessons to improve his public speaking skills. And another example. Actors focus on elocution to make their speech sound more powerful on screen. See? Celebrities work on elocution to sound clearer, more confident, and even more natural. That's why their English sounds so polished. But wait, does this mean you need a private coach to improve your English? Not at all. There are plenty of other ways to train like a celebrity, and that's exactly what we'll talk about next. So we know that celebrities surround themselves with English and work on elocution to sound more natural. But what else do they do? Well, one thing many actors do is mimic native speakers. They don't just learn words, they copy how native speakers talk. They listen to intonation, rhythm, and even body language. And guess what? You can do this too. Think about it. Have you ever watched an actor in a movie and thought, wow, they sound so natural? That's because they're mastering the flow of the language. For example, Leonardo DiCaprio had to learn Afrikaans for a movie, and he copied native speakers until he sounded convincing. Similarly, non-native English speakers in Hollywood do the same with English. That brings us to our first word, mimic. Let's pause here. What does mimic mean? Mimic means to copy the way someone speaks or acts, usually to sound or look like them. It's different from just repeating words. It's about capturing the tone, the rhythm, and the feeling behind the words. Come on, you're not repeating with me. Say it, mimic. Again, mimic. Now, let's use it in a sentence. He mimicked his teacher's accent to sound more fluent in French. And another example. Actors often mimic real people to prepare for their movie roles. See? Mimicking is not just about words, it's about copying how native speakers actually sound. And that's a big reason why celebrities improve their English so fast. But let's be honest, not everyone has time to watch movies and mimic actors all day, right? So what else do celebrities do? They practice constantly. And one of the biggest techniques they use is shadowing. Now, what is shadowing? Shadowing is a technique where you listen to a native speaker and repeat what they say immediately, without pausing. You don't just read subtitles, you match their pronunciation, speed, and tone in real time. Come on, say it. Shadowing, again, shadowing. Now let's put it in a sentence. He practiced shadowing by listening to podcasts and repeating what the speaker said. And another example. Shadowing helped her improve her fluency by training her to speak naturally. See? Shadowing is like copying in real time, just like how celebrities learn their scripts. And here's the best part. You can do it anytime, anywhere. If you want to sound more natural, start mimicking native speakers and using shadowing to train your speech. Even just 5 to 10 minutes a day can make a huge difference. In the next part, we'll look at how celebrities learn slang, expressions, and informal speech. Because let's be real, English isn't just textbooks and grammar. Now, here's something interesting. Celebrities don't just learn English from textbooks. In fact, they learn a lot of their English through everyday conversations, slang, and informal speech. Think about it. Have you ever heard a celebrity in an interview and thought, wow, they sound so natural? That's because they pick up phrases and expressions that native speakers actually use, and that's something most English learners struggle with. You might know all the grammar rules, but when it comes to casual conversation, it's a whole different game. Let's take a real example. Arnold Schwarzenegger, when he first moved to America, learned English not just by taking classes, but by talking to people on the street, listening to how they spoke, and picking up the slang they used. So, why is this important? Because real-life English isn't the same as what you find in textbooks. For example, imagine you're watching a movie and someone says, "I'm gonna hit the sack." If you learned English in a traditional way, you might be confused. What does hitting a sack have to do with anything? But if you've been exposed to real conversations, you'd know it simply means, "I'm going to sleep." That brings us to our first word for today, colloquial. Now, let's pause here for a second. What does colloquial mean? Colloquial refers to informal, everyday language that people use in casual conversations rather than formal writing or speeches. Come on, say it. Colloquial. Again, colloquial. Let's use it in a sentence. He learned colloquial English by chatting with native speakers instead of studying textbooks. And another example. That phrase is too formal. Try using something more colloquial to sound natural. See? Colloquial English is what celebrities pick up to sound more like native speakers. But here's the catch. You can't just memorize slang words and expect to sound natural. You have to understand the culture behind the language. And that's exactly what celebrities do. They immerse themselves in English-speaking environments so they can pick up not just words, but also the way people use them. Now, another technique that celebrities use is code switching. Ever noticed how some bilingual celebrities switch between languages effortlessly? That's called code switching, and it's a powerful skill. Let's break it down. What is code switching? Code switching is when a person alternates between 2 or more languages, dialects, or even different styles of speaking depending on the situation. Say it with me. Code switching. Again, code switching. Now, let's put it in a sentence. She uses code switching when talking to her family in Spanish but speaking English at work. And another example. His code switching skills help him blend in easily in different social groups. See? Code switching is something celebrities do naturally when they learn English. It helps them fit in and sound fluent in different situations. Now, here's a question. How can you use these techniques? Well, start by paying attention to how native speakers talk in different settings. The way people speak in a business meeting is different from how they speak with friends at a party. try watching interviews with celebrities who speak English as a second language. How do they sound in formal interviews versus casual conversations? That's the secret, learning not just words, but also how and when to use them. So, if you want to sound more natural in English, don't just study textbooks. Immerse yourself in real conversations, pick up colloquial expressions, and observe code switching in action. In the next part, we'll talk about how celebrities use body language and tone to enhance their English communication. Another thing that sets celebrities apart when learning English is their ability to use body language and tone effectively. Think about it. Have you ever seen an interview where a non-native speaker sounds fluent, but something still feels off? It's often because their intonation, gestures, or expressions don't match the way native speakers communicate. Now, this might seem like a small detail, but it makes a huge difference. For example, let's say someone asks you, "Do you like this movie?" If you answer in a flat tone, "Yeah, it was good," without any enthusiasm, it might sound like you didn't really enjoy it. But if you say, "Yeah, it was amazing," with excitement in your voice, your message becomes much clearer. This is why intonation matters. It's not just what you say, but how you say it. And celebrities master this skill when learning English because they understand that English speakers rely on tone and expression just as much as words. Now let's break down an important word here, nuance. What does nuance mean? Nuance refers to small, subtle differences in meaning, tone, or expression that can completely change how something is understood. Say it with me. Nuance. Again, nuance. Let's use it in a sentence. Understanding the nuances of English helps you sound more natural and expressive. And another example. Her speech had a lot of emotional nuances that made it powerful. See, it's all about paying attention to the little details that shape communication, and celebrities understand this. When they practice English, they don't just focus on words, they focus on how those words sound in different situations. For example, let's take Sofia Vergara. She's a fluent English speaker, but her accent is still strong. However, what makes her sound engaging and confident is her use of tone, expressions, and gestures. Even though she doesn't sound like a native English speaker, she still comes across as charismatic and natural because of how she controls her voice and expressions. That's a key lesson. You don't have to have a perfect accent to sound fluent. What you need is confidence, expressiveness, and an understanding of nuance. Now, let's move to another important concept that celebrities use, contextual learning. What does that mean? It means learning words and expressions within real-life situations, rather than just memorizing definitions. This is exactly how celebrities pick up English so fast. Instead of sitting down with a dictionary, they learn by experiencing the language in different contexts. For example, if a celebrity is preparing for a movie role, they don't just learn random words. They immerse themselves in the environment. If they're playing a doctor, they spend time talking to real doctors to pick up medical language. If they're playing a lawyer, they watch courtroom dramas and learn how lawyers actually speak. That's contextual learning, understanding how words are used in real situations instead of just memorizing them from a textbook. Now, let's break down another important word, assimilation. What does assimilation mean? Assimilation refers to the process of fully absorbing and adapting to a new culture, language, or way of thinking. Say it with me, assimilation. Again, assimilation. Let's use it in a sentence. Her quick assimilation into American culture helped her improve her English naturally. And another example. Language immersion programs help with the assimilation of new vocabulary and expressions. See? Assimilation is exactly what celebrities do when they learn English. They don't just study the language, they absorb the culture, the way people speak, the expressions, the humor, and even the social rules. That's why their English sounds so natural. And this is something you can apply to your own learning. Instead of just studying vocabulary lists, immerse yourself in English as much as possible. Watch English movies, listen to podcasts, read books, and most importantly, pay attention to how native speakers actually use the language in different situations. Because at the end of the day, fluency isn't just about words. It's about how you use them, how you sound, and how well you understand the nuances of the language. So, in the next part, we'll dive deeper into how celebrities use storytelling techniques to improve their fluency. One of the most powerful tools celebrities use when learning English is storytelling. Think about it. When you hear a great story, you don't just remember the words. You remember the emotions, the details, the way it made you feel. That's why storytelling is such an effective way to learn and retain language. And celebrities use this technique all the time. When they're practicing English, they don't just learn words in isolation. They create scenarios, stories, and conversations that help them remember vocabulary naturally. For example, let's take Arnold Schwarzenegger. When he was learning English, he didn't just study grammar rules. He used stories to practice new words. Instead of memorizing the word struggle from a textbook, he would tell stories about his struggles moving to the US, adapting to a new culture, and working hard to become successful. By associating words with personal experiences, he made them stick in his mind. Now, this is something you can do too. Instead of just learning a word and moving on, connect it to a real-life experience. Let's say you're learning the word overcome. Instead of just memorizing its meaning, think about a time when you overcame a challenge. Maybe you overcame a fear of speaking English in public. Maybe you overcame a difficult exam in school. By tying words to real stories, you make them personal, meaningful, and unforgettable. And this is exactly how celebrities train their brains to remember English naturally. Now, let's break down an important word here, resonance. What does resonance mean? Resonance refers to the deep emotional impact or connection that something has. Say it with me, resonance. Again, resonance. Let's use it in a sentence. Her speech had a strong resonance with the audience because it was so relatable. And another example. The movie's message had a deep resonance with people who had experienced similar struggles. See? Resonance is why storytelling is so powerful. When a word or phrase resonates with you, it sticks in your memory. That's why celebrities use personal stories, dramatic situations, and emotions to master English. And guess what? You can do the same. Next time you learn a new word, don't just repeat it. Tell a short story using it. For example, instead of just saying, perseverance means to keep going despite difficulties, another major technique celebrities use when learning English is mimicry, the art of imitating native speakers to sound more natural. When actors prepare for a role in a different language or accent, they don't just focus on the words. They pay attention to intonation, rhythm, and emotion. Take someone like Charlize Theron. She grew up speaking Afrikaans but learned English fluently by mimicking how native speakers talked. Instead of just learning words, she copied their tone, pronunciation, and expressions until they became natural. This is something you can do too. When you watch an English movie or listen to a podcast, don't just focus on the meaning of the words, listen to how they are spoken. Try this. Pick a sentence from your favorite English speaker and repeat it exactly as they say it. Focus on how their voice goes up and down, where they pause, how they emphasize certain words. Do it again and again until it feels natural. This is called shadowing, and it's one of the fastest ways to improve your English fluency. Come on. Say it with me. Shadowing. Again. Shadowing. Let's practice. Listen carefully and repeat. When learning English, imitation is the key to natural fluency. Come on. You're not repeating with me. Say it again. When learning English, imitation is the key to natural fluency. Good. By doing this regularly, you will start to sound more like a native speaker without even thinking about it. Now, let's break down an important word: cadence. Cadence refers to the rhythm and flow of speech. Say it with me. Cadence. Again, cadence. Here's an example. His speech had a smooth cadence that made it easy to follow. And another one. When learning a new language, paying attention to cadence helps you sound more fluent. Cadence is what makes English sound natural. Without it, speech can feel robotic and unnatural. That's why celebrities train their ears to hear the natural cadence of English. Now, here's something interesting. Celebrities also use singing to improve their English. Have you ever noticed how some people speak English with a strong accent, but when they sing, they sound almost native? That's because singing removes hesitation, forces you to follow natural rhythm, and improves pronunciation. Take someone like Shakira. Spanish is her first language, but when she sings in English, her pronunciation and fluency sound almost perfect. That's because she has trained her mouth and tongue to move in a way that flows naturally in English. Try this. Pick an English song you like and sing along to it every day. Don't just listen. Imitate how the singer pronounces words, how they connect them, how they express emotion through tone. You might not realize it, but this is an incredibly powerful way to improve your English. Now, let's break down another important word: articulation. Articulation refers to the way sounds and words are formed clearly and distinctly. Say it with me. Articulation. Again, articulation. Here's an example. Good articulation is essential for clear communication. And another one. Actors practice articulation exercises to improve their speech clarity. If you struggle with articulation, here's something you can do. Try tongue twisters. Say this with me. She sells seashells by the seashore. Again, faster. She sells seashells by the seashore. See how that forces you to move your mouth more? The more you do this, the clearer your speech will become. This is something many celebrities practice. They don't just learn new words, they train their mouths to move smoothly and naturally in English. Here's another thing that celebrities do differently. They don't just memorize words, they connect them. For example, instead of learning the word opportunity on its own, they learn phrases like seize an opportunity or miss an opportunity. Instead of learning the word decision, they learn phrases like make a decision or a tough decision. This is a technique you should use too. Instead of learning single words, learn phrases and chunks of language. Come on, let's try it together. Instead of just saying confidence, say speak with confidence. Instead of just saying success, say achieve success through hard work. When you learn words and phrases, your brain remembers them more naturally because that's how we use language in real life. Now, here's a secret. Celebrities don't just learn English in classrooms. They immerse themselves in the language every single day. They hire English-speaking coaches, surround themselves with native speakers, and create an environment where English is unavoidable. This is something you can do too. You don't need to live in an English-speaking country to immerse yourself in English. You can start by thinking in English. Right now, what are you doing? Are you sitting, walking, drinking coffee? Instead of thinking, I am drinking coffee in your native language, think it in English. Throughout the day, describe what's happening around you in English. Even if you're alone, have conversations in your head in English. The more you do this, the more natural English will feel to you. And this is how celebrities train themselves to think in English. They don't just study English, they live it, breathe it, and make it part of their daily reality. So, in the next part, we'll explore how celebrities train their confidence, overcome speaking anxiety, and develop the mindset needed to speak fluently. One of the biggest obstacles to speaking English fluently isn't just vocabulary or grammar, it's confidence. Even celebrities, despite their fame and talent, have struggled with speaking English in public. But the difference is they actively work on overcoming that fear. Public speaking in interviews can be terrifying, especially in a second language. Yet, celebrities train their minds to push through the discomfort, which is exactly what you need to do if you want to master spoken English. Think about actors who have had to perform in English despite growing up speaking a completely different language. Take Jackie Chan, for example. When he first started working in Hollywood, his English was shaky. He knew words, but expressing himself fluidly was a challenge. Instead of shying away from speaking, he threw himself into practice. He memorized entire scripts, repeated phrases over and over, and eventually became comfortable expressing himself naturally in English. Now, imagine this. You're about to have a conversation in English, but suddenly, doubt creeps in. What if you make a mistake? What if people don't understand you? That little voice in your head telling you that you're not good enough is what holds you back. But here's the truth. Mistakes are part of the process. Even celebrities make mistakes in interviews, but they don't stop speaking because of them. They laugh it off, correct themselves, and move on. This is the attitude you need to adopt. Come on, repeat with me. Mistakes are part of the process. Again, mistakes are part of the process. If you hold yourself back because of the fear of making mistakes, you will never improve. Think of it this way. When babies learn to walk, they don't just stand up one day and start running. They fall a lot, but they keep getting up. Learning English is the same. You have to fall a few times before you can walk confidently. One strategy that celebrities use to build their confidence is talking to themselves in English. Yes, it might sound funny, but it works. Many actors and musicians practice speaking in front of mirrors before important interviews. They rehearse what they want to say, watch their facial expressions, and adjust their pronunciation. This simple technique allows them to get comfortable hearing themselves speak in English. Try this. Stand in front of a mirror and start talking. Introduce yourself, talk about your day, describe your surroundings, whatever comes to mind. It might feel strange at first, but the more you do it, the more natural it will become. You'll start noticing your own expressions, how your mouth moves when pronouncing certain words, and where you need to improve. Now let's focus on another challenge. Thinking too much before speaking. Have you ever been in a conversation where you wanted to say something, but by the time you figured out the perfect sentence in your head, the conversation had already moved on? That's because overthinking kills fluency. Celebrities don't have time to carefully plan every sentence in interviews. They train themselves to respond quickly and naturally. One way to overcome this is by practicing quick responses. Find a list of common questions in English and answer them out loud as fast as you can. For example, if someone asks, "What's your favorite movie?" Don't stop and think about how to construct a perfect sentence. Just respond with whatever comes to mind. The goal is to get comfortable speaking without hesitation. Come on, let's practice. What's your favorite food? Say it out loud right now. Good. Now, where do you want to travel next? Answer quickly. See? The more you do this, the easier it becomes to speak without pausing too much. Another technique that celebrities use is visualization. Before an important interview, many actors visualize themselves speaking fluently and confidently. They imagine the conversation flowing smoothly, their words coming out naturally, and the audience responding positively. This mental rehearsal helps them stay calm and perform better. You can do the same before speaking English. Before a conversation, take a deep breath, close your eyes, and picture yourself speaking fluently. See yourself smiling, expressing yourself clearly, and feeling confident. This small trick can reduce anxiety and improve your performance. And here's another secret. Celebrities don't just wait for opportunities to speak English. They create them. They surround themselves with English-speaking environments, even if they're not in an English-speaking country. Think of someone like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He moved to the US with a heavy accent and limited English, but he made sure to immerse himself completely in the language. He watched English movies, surrounded himself with native speakers, and forced himself to communicate in English daily. This kind of immersion is what makes a real difference. You can do this too. Set your phone to English, watch English content, follow English-speaking influencers, and even change your internal thoughts to English. The more you expose yourself to the language, the faster you'll improve. Now, let's break down an important word. Articulate. To articulate means to express something clearly and effectively. Here's an example. If you want to be a good speaker, you need to articulate your ideas well. And another one. In interviews, celebrities practice how to articulate their thoughts smoothly. Articulation is what makes your speech sound polished. If you mumble or speak too fast, people might not understand you. That's why practicing articulation exercises can be helpful. Try reading out loud, exaggerating your pronunciation, and slowing down your speech when necessary. Let's practice together. Say this sentence slowly and clearly. Good communication requires clear articulation. Again, with confidence. Good communication requires clear articulation. Great! Now, let's move to another important aspect, learning through real-life conversations. Celebrities don't just learn English from textbooks. They improve their fluency by having real conversations with native speakers. Imagine you're on a movie set where everyone speaks English. You have no choice but to communicate in English, so you pick up phrases naturally, understand cultural nuances, and adapt quickly. This is what happens when celebrities move to Hollywood. They're constantly surrounded by English speakers, which forces them to improve. Even if you don't live in an English-speaking country, you can create a similar environment. Join online English-speaking groups, find language partners, or even talk to yourself in English throughout the day. The key is to practice speaking as much as possible. One last thing to remember, fluency is not about perfection. Many celebrities who speak English as a second language still have accents, make small mistakes, or sometimes forget words. But that doesn't stop them from communicating confidently. They focus on being understood rather than being perfect. This is the mindset you need to have. Don't wait until your English is flawless before speaking. Speak now. Make mistakes, learn from them, and keep improving. In the next part, we'll explore how celebrities overcome language plateaus and continue improving their English, even after reaching fluency. One of the biggest myths about learning English is that once you reach a certain level of fluency, you don't need to practice anymore. But even celebrities who have been speaking English for years still work on their language skills. Why? Because language learning is a continuous process. If you don't use it, you lose it. And this is exactly why so many celebrities take regular lessons, practice pronunciation, and constantly expose themselves to English-speaking environments. Think about actors who move to Hollywood. They might already speak English, but if their accent is too strong or if they struggle with certain words, they work with coaches to refine their speech. Take someone like Salma Hayek. She spoke English before moving to the US, but she knew that to land major roles, she had to improve her pronunciation and fluency. She practiced daily, worked with language experts, and over time, her speech became more polished. Now, let's talk about something important. Have you ever felt stuck in your English learning journey? Maybe you understand a lot, but you still struggle to express yourself fluently. This is called a language plateau. Many celebrities hit this point too. They reach a level where they can communicate, but they feel like they're not improving anymore. The key to breaking this plateau is to challenge yourself. Come on, repeat with me. Challenge yourself. Again, challenge yourself. If you keep practicing the same things over and over, you won't improve. That's why celebrities push themselves by doing interviews, performing in English, or even learning difficult scripts that stretch their vocabulary. you need to do the same. If you always watch the same kind of content or speak about the same topics, your progress will slow down. Try reading something more advanced, watching complex documentaries, or having deeper conversations in English. One strategy celebrities use to push past a plateau is shadowing. This means listening to a native speaker and repeating exactly what they say, mimicking their tone, pronunciation, and rhythm. This is how actors train to sound more natural in English. You can do this too. Pick a short clip of an English speaker, maybe an interview or a movie scene, play it, and repeat every word exactly as they say it. Do this a few times until you match their speed and pronunciation. Come on, let's practice right now. I'll say a sentence, and you repeat after me. Learning English is a journey, not a destination. Again, learning English is a journey, not a destination. Good. The more you practice like this, the more natural your speech will become. Now, let's talk about another challenge, using natural expressions. Many celebrities sound fluent, but sometimes they struggle with sounding natural because they rely too much on textbook English. Real conversations don't always follow grammar rules perfectly. There are idioms, slang, and informal phrases that native speakers use every day. For example, instead of saying, "I am very tired," a native speaker might say, "I'm exhausted," or "I'm drained." Instead of, "That's a good idea," they might say, "That sounds great," or "That's a solid plan." Learning these small differences is what makes English sound more natural. One great way to learn natural expressions is by watching celebrity interviews. Pay attention to how they phrase things. You'll notice they don't speak like a textbook. They use contractions, fillers, and casual phrases. Try writing down new expressions you hear and using them in your own conversations. And now, let's break down a word. Versatile. If someone is versatile, it means they can do many different things well. Here's an example. An actor who can play both comedy and drama roles is very versatile. And another one, a versatile speaker can switch between formal and casual English easily. Being versatile in English means you can adapt to different situations, whether it's a job interview, a casual chat, or a public speech. If you only practice one type of conversation, you might struggle in new situations. That's why it's important to expose yourself to different kinds of English: formal, informal, professional, and everyday conversation. Let's practice together. Say this sentence after me. Being versatile in English makes communication easier. Again, being versatile in English makes communication easier. Now, let's talk about pronunciation. Many celebrities work on their pronunciation because even if they know a lot of English, mispronouncing words can make them hard to understand. Even famous actors like Sofia Vergara, who is fluent in English, still practice pronunciation to make their speech clearer. A simple trick to improve pronunciation is to focus on mouth movement. Some sounds in English require different tongue and lip positions than in other languages. Try exaggerating your mouth movements when practicing difficult words. It might feel silly, but it helps. Here's a challenge. Try saying this sentence slowly and clearly. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. This sentence contains every letter in the English alphabet, so it's a great pronunciation exercise. One final tip. Don't be afraid to slow down when speaking. Many people think that speaking fast makes them sound more fluent, but actually, it can make them harder to understand. Even celebrities who speak English fluently don't always talk fast. They focus on speaking clearly and confidently. In the next part, we'll discuss how celebrities maintain their English skills and continue learning even when they're already fluent. One thing people often overlook when it comes to celebrities learning English is how much effort they put into maintaining their skills. Learning a language isn't just about reaching fluency, it's about keeping it sharp. even if you become fluent, if you don't use English regularly, you will start forgetting words, losing confidence, and making mistakes. This happens to celebrities too, which is why they make sure to stay in environments where they are constantly exposed to English. Think about someone like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He has lived in the US for decades and speaks fluent English, but he still has an accent and occasionally struggles with certain phrases. However, he never stops learning. He watches interviews of native speakers, reads books in English, and constantly interacts with people who speak the language. This keeps his English skills strong. The same applies to you. If you only study English when you're in a classroom or when you have time, but you don't make it part of your daily life, your progress will slow down. To truly master the language, you need to surround yourself with it. Celebrities do this by working with English-speaking teams, watching English films, and practicing speaking every day. All right, let's wrap this up. We've explored how celebrities learn English through immersion, practice, confidence building, and consistency. The truth is, there's no magic formula. Celebrities succeed in learning English because they put in the effort, surround themselves with the language, and push past their fears of making mistakes. And that's exactly what you need to do. If they can do it, so can you. The key is to make English part of your daily life. Speak out loud, shadow native speakers, listen to English content, and most importantly, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Fluency doesn't come from perfection. It comes from consistent practice. So, as we end this episode, I want you to say this with me. I will practice every day. Again, I will practice every day. That's the mindset that will take you from learning English to mastering it. Keep going, keep speaking, and I'll see you in the next episode.